So today we're going to be talking about Flux, which is the newest and best generative AI in the market right now. And if you've tried other text-to-image generators like OpenAI's DALL-E, then you'll know that when you try to create an image, it probably sucks. And I've been there before, and now it is a completely different ballgame that we have Flux, because it can actually create hyper-realistic AI images with one click of a button. And in this video, I'm just going to be sharing everything you need to know about it, how you can actually use it, how you can actually integrate it with the API keys into platforms like Make, and more importantly, how we can actually use these in our businesses to make more money. So I'm going to be covering all the use cases that you need to know about. So you definitely don't want to miss this video, and let's just dive into it. As you can see on screen, these are actually good AI images that you can't really tell the difference between this AI image right here and a real person. Like, it is pretty damn accurate, but people on Twitter have somehow been taking it to the next level, and they've created videos from the actual Flux image generator, right? So if you look at this, you can see that you cannot really tell the difference between this AI video and a human speaking. It literally looks the same. And put in the comments what you think about this, and if you think it looks the same or not, because I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts. But yeah, it's getting pretty crazy. You can see that this person essentially used Flux with Laura, so I'm going to be explaining how you can actually use this in this video. And they also use Gen 3 Alpha Image to Video, which is another tool to essentially turn that image into a video of her speaking. So let's actually dive into this. If you are looking to use Flux, then essentially what you are going to have to do is come to a website called blackforestlabs.ai, and they are the people that essentially created this variation, right? So how it works is, if we scroll down, you can actually use, so look, you can see that all of these are by used Flux, but if you go down to the bottom, you can actually use it on platforms like Replicate. You can use it on other ones. I think Mystic.ai is this one, and this one is Foul.ai, I believe. But essentially, you'd need to use it on one of these three platforms, in my opinion. So if we just use Flux 1 Pro, so if we click on, let's say, Replicate, essentially you can see that it will get you to log in. I'm already logged in because I've already got an account, as you can see up here. But essentially it's very easy to use. All you do is just create an account on replicate.com, and ideally go to the first place of Black Forest Labs just to get it. But you can then just put in your prompt of what you want, put in the aspect ratio of how much you want the size to change, and you're good to go. You can run. It usually takes about, I've heard it takes about 30 seconds to generate, and it costs about 3 cents per image, which isn't too bad, like, especially because you're going to be getting hyper realistic images like this. It's actually pretty solid. So yeah, that is how you'd use it, and I'm going to be showing how to use the API key in a second. But first, I want to talk about the actual use cases that I would be using this in my business for. So that's the main question, right? I see a lot of these videos on like the newest AI tools, but no one actually talks about how you can use this to make more money. Like, a lot of people are just making videos for the sake of it. So I think it's important we do discuss this. Now, in my opinion, hyper testing ad creatives is a really good use case, because obviously with like 3 cents, and you can just create like 30 different variations of your ad. And obviously now, unlike DALL-E, which is chatgpt's model, or OpenAI's model, which is just their text to image model, it doesn't really have the text in the image, and sometimes it messes up the text, which is why I showed you this at the beginning with the actual hands, because you can see that she has 5 fingers, whereas you wouldn't believe this, but OpenAI's DALL-E doesn't, like, it messes up basic things like having 5 fingers. And if you were to prompt it to say, like, put text here saying, I don't know, Charlie or something, it would spell my name wrong, whereas Flux is a lot more accurate. So we can essentially use it to create ad creatives. If you work with e-com brands, this would be amazing for creating product images. And if we go back to the actual Black Forest Labs, let's try and go back a second if we can, and let's go up. You can see that you could actually create images like this, where it's like UGC of users using your client's products in their, like, in a photo like this, without actually having to pay someone to sit in front of your product. So that is another amazing use case for it. Personalized image follow-ups, this is a huge one. So in the B2B space, follow-ups are king. You are missing out on maybe 60 to 80% of the appointments that you could be generating if you aren't doing follow-ups. So you could essentially be doing personalized follow-ups, which I'll explain in a second how you can do by integrating it into platforms like Make, and yeah, automating the image process, right? Which is crazy because you've obviously seen how like powerful these are, but if we can automate it so you don't actually have to prompt it inside Replicate, it's a completely different thing. So the next one is YouTube thumbnails. This is an obvious one, but yeah, obviously it's key. YouTube story threads. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, you know how you see those like captions where it's like a news article and then it's an AI image on the background. Some theme pages like Lad Bible, they do it, and you could obviously use this for you could do this really easy using Flux, right? So now I'm actually going to show you how to integrate it into make.com. So that's another question that you're probably asking, is like, how do you actually integrate it into Make and other platforms? So essentially what you want to do is, once you are in blackfloreslabs.ai, go down to Replicate, and once you're in Replicate, we are essentially going to be able to see all of this, right? And what this does is, if you actually go to so let's go here, and you go to replicate.com/blackforest/labs/flux -pro/API. So you can just copy that in, or I think if you go back here, you should be able to click on API tokens and it should take you there. And then once you're in here, it basically gives you the actual instructions right here. So if we go into Make, you can see that this is a basic one where essentially what it's going to do is we're going to make a request. It's then going to create a folder in Google Drive. It's going to upload the image that it creates, and then it's going to give us a share link. So it just gives us a Google Drive link of the image, right? So it's really simple. But how this would work is, if you are starting, let's just quickly go off this and let's go back and create a new scenario. The first thing you're going to add is HTTP, right? So we're going to do make a request, and the first thing we're actually going to put in is the instructions of this, right? So you can see that we would need this HTTP, and you'd basically just want to copy that in, right? You're just following what Replicate does, and for the method, you're going to do, I think, post, because obviously we want to make a post, and then you would just follow what it has here. So you can see that we would need authorization. So this is the API key. So if you do post, so let's quickly, you can see that's perfect. Add a header. You can have this as authorization, and then you would basically do the bearer, and then you just need to find your API key, which can be in here. I mean, it's right here. It's literally right in front of you. So I'm not going to actually paste it in because it would expose my API key. But if you paste it in there, and it should start with an R. If it doesn't start with an R, then remove the part before that. But you can then just integrate it into Make, and just make sure you add the rest of the stuff, like the content type. So that would look like this very quickly. So you'd add a header, you'd go here, content type, and this would be application JSON, or maybe this would be the one below. That's perfect. So yeah, this is how it works. We want to pass the response, by the way, and then you're pretty much good to go. Just make sure there's not other things you need to do. So for example, you might need to do the prompt like this. So if you want to go down here, you could go raw, I guess, but actually let's not do that because I don't want to make it more confusing. But for the prompt, let me just show you what you do here. You basically need it like this, and then you would write here whatever you want. So if you want, create a photo of Mark Zuckerberg, if I can actually spell, and then you get the point, right? You could you could make it as detailed as you want, but this is where you just change your prompt, and then obviously this would be JSON application, and then this would be your prompt. So you just click OK once you've added whatever you want it to create, and then to actually upload it, we're going to do upload, or what we're going to do first is create a folder, and just make sure new folder location, just put the location that you want to add it in, and just put the name as like, I don't know, whatever you want, Flux image, let's just call it that. Then you're going to add something, and you're going to add Google Drive, and we're going to upload a file. You would basically do file ID, just call that, file name, just call it name, and then data, you'd go down here to data, right? So just click data, then click OK, and then all you want to do is just get a share link. So share link is as simple as that. And yeah, just make sure you have the file name, anyone, that's really important, and then you're good to go. As you can see, that is how it works. Just make sure you play around and do the right instructions, because if you don't have the right instructions, then it won't work on the front end or the back end. So that's really key. But yeah, this is just a basic intro into how to basically connect Flux to make.com, and you can get so creative with this, because what you can do is add like a module here, for example, link it up, and you could have something like, I don't know, chatgpt, and create a completion to be able to prompt text basically on this, and then it would use the prompt to be able to then tell replicate, and then it would basically create your image for you, right? So you could even have a thing before here, so you could have another one before thing. So if we do I don't know, it could be anything. It could quite literally be anything. It could be a Google Sheet, and it could be watch a row on a Google Sheet, right? So watch new rows. So what this means is, like, if we quickly go off this, you could quite literally upload a row to a Google Sheet. It's then going to do research on that row and stuff like that. And if you wanted a better one than ChatGPT, you could just use Perplexity, which is a live competitor to ChatGPT, to actually be able to create. So you can see that we've actually got it already connected, our API key. But if we put this as, like, let's do 4,000 tokens, temperature 1, and then just click OK. Obviously you need to add a message. But if we were to add a message and a prompt, right, what we could do is we could get Perplexity to watch the news each day, and then we could get it to essentially make an image of that, all on autopilot, because we could get this to run every every day at a set time. So we could quite literally create images based on, I don't know, news in your niche, and then you could even upload this to, like, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so forth. So the possibilities are pretty endless if you play around with it. But I just wanted to demonstrate more of an overview in this video of how to do this and how to essentially use Flux, because most people get stuck on the first step of just, like, how do you even use it? And it's very simple. You just go through Replicate or Mystic.ai, and you can go to the Black Forest Labs.ai website to be able to click on it directly, and you need to make an account, obviously, and then you're good to go. But you don't need to. I'd recommend using Replicate, because you don't need to pay the $10 that you would for, I can't remember, I think it was Foul.ai, you have to pay $10. So if you use Replicate, you just pay as you go, and it is pretty cheap, like 3 cents to make a hyper realistic image. It's pretty crazy. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, just drop a like, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments. So put below what you think, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next video. A bunch of cool videos coming soon, so you definitely don't want to miss it, and I'll put some up here that you can watch right now if you want. So yeah, take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one.